Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, Facebook, and welcome to this week's Tot. Think on these things. It is I, your girl, your host, Marilyn Gregory, aka MG, aka Pearl. And I am here on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, always trying to bring you something that will encourage you, something that will lift you up, something that will benefit you and help you in this journey that we call life. And I always say I'm not going to hold you very long, and tonight's not going to be any different. I promise not to hold you too long. Go ahead and grab some people. Tell them that Tot MG is on, and she has a fantastic word for you tonight. And we're going to finish up. This is the last Wednesday in May, y'all. Where has the time gone? We almost halfway in the year. So time is moving fast. Grab some people, tell them MG is on. She has a word for you. So we're going to finish up talking about relationships. We've been talking about relationships for the month of May. This is the last Wednesday in the month, so we're going to just finish it up with this. Failure is not an option. Repeat that after me, please. Failure is not an option. Too many times we go into marriages, relationships, and we already have an exit ramp. We already figured out how we're going to get out of this thing if we need to get out of it, for whatever reason, right? So when you go into a marriage, a binding relationship before God, failure is not an option, y'all, because you're going into a covenant, not a contract. I heard a pastor say that the difference between a covenant and a contract is a contract protects me. Usually when people get a contract, they get it to protect their rights and to limit their responsibility. A contract is usually drew up to protect somebody's right and to limit somebody's responsibility, right? But a covenant is a sacrifice. It means I'm giving up my rights. I'm making a sacrifice for yours. I'm willing to give up my rights and sacrifice my rights for yours, right? That's a covenant. So when you go into a marriage, you are going into a covenant. A covenant is not broken like a contract. And a covenant is binding by blood. So back during the biblical times, when the woman went into the man's tent after the marriage, then I believe it's the father would bring out the sheet showing, okay, this is a blood covenant because she was a virgin. It's a covenant, right? Not a contract. So failure is not an option. We talked about how healthy couples fight for resolution. Unhealthy couples fight for personal victory because they have not become one. They're still focused on me, what I need, what I need, what I need. No sacrifice in there, right? So I'm going to we talked about things that you shouldn't do when you're fighting. Tonight we're going to talk about some weapons that you can use during confrontation, during your marriage, whether it's a debate or just every day, right? First, we need to make sure that we're walking in humility. Philippians 2:3 says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind. So make sure we're walking in humility, that we're not being prideful when we're dealing with our mate, our significant other, our partner, our babe, whatever you call them. Walk in humility. Don't try to lord over them men. Don't try to manipulate them or con them women. Walk in humility. Also, be empathetic. Be empathetic. Try to understand where they're coming from. Because remember, we all raised in different households by different parents. Sometimes not even our biological parents, right? It could be a foster parent. It could be a grandparent. It could be a kin, an aunt, uncle, we are all raised differently. So everybody's household looks different. So I had someone ask me, I think my daughter asked me one time why I speak so fast. Well, it was 6 of us. And we all, if I didn't speak fast, I was not going to get my point in, right? I felt like I was not going to be heard. And that's why sometimes I speak fast and I speak loudly, because I want to make sure that I'm heard. And I'm not being combative. I'm not mad or anything like that. It's just was my upbringing. That's what I had to do in my house to be heard. So we have to be empathetic to our spouse, our partner, and understand where they're coming from. That's why it's so important to get to know the family, to spend time with the family, and pay attention to the family dynamics. That way you can understand your partner better. We have to study them and learn them and get to know them for who they are, not for who we want them to be, but for who they actually are. So it's important to get to know the family, get to know how they grow up, where they grew up, what was their family dynamics like with their mother, father, siblings. All of that stuff is important, because all of that stuff makes up that person that you have made a covenant with, that you say that you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with. So make sure you are being empathetic and trying to understand where your partner is coming from, because they may not talk the way you talk. They may not hear the way you hear. They may not understand the way you understand. And they, on the other shoe, they should be also empathetic to you, getting to know you, studying you, finding about your family dynamics as well. And then sometimes you want to agree to disagree. A lot of times conflicts can be resolved very quickly just by doing that. I'm not going to agree with everything you think. You're not going to agree with everything that I think or say. That's okay. As long as we both are in the Word, we're studying the Word, we agree with the Word. We may not always agree with one another. But if we agree with the Word, what God says about the situation, then sometimes we just have to say, okay, this is the way you're seeing it or reading it or understanding it. I'm seeing it, reading, or understanding it this way. Maybe we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. And the man, ladies, is the head of the house. He is your covering. He is the one that God is going to hold responsible for your marriage. So when you agree to disagree, and it's a decision that has to be made concerning the family, whether it be finances, whatever it may be, right? Then you're going to have to let him take the lead. I said it. I meant it. You're going to have to allow him to take the lead. If you don't trust him, why are you with him? If you cannot be led by him, why are you with him? If you don't trust his judgment, why are you with him? You're gonna have to, in those times when you agree to disagree and it's a decision that has to be made, you're gonna have to let him make it. And if he was wrong and you have a backup, go with the backup, but never, ever say, I told you so. Baby, okay, so this didn't work. What do you think about us trying this? Because remember, you won. If you win, you both win. If you lose, you both lose. It's about resolution. It's about us coming together, making this thing a success. Because failure is not an option. So sometimes you might have to agree to disagree. And listen before you speak. Now, I can only speak for myself for this, but I know I'm not the only one to do it, but I'm just going to say me anyway, right? Sometimes I am so busy waiting for them to stop talking so I can say my piece that I fail to hear what they said. And you know what? There has been times when they actually said what I was going to say. That's so sad. It's so true though, but it's so sad. So make sure that you are listening before you speak. Listening to hear, listening to understand, listening to be objective, listening to be empathetic. Not listening so you can tear apart everything that they said, right? But you're listening for understanding. So when you speak, which is the next thing, you are going to speak gently. Because a gentle answer turns away wrath. And a gentle answer can be more easily received. They don't go on the defense. So make sure that you're listening before you speak. And when you do speak, you speak gently. Right? And then communicate. And then when you're done communicating, communicate some more. But make sure that you're communicating clearly and honestly. And here's the thing. Sometimes we think we are communicating clearly, but we have so much, and I'm going to use Ryan Cameron's words. I heard him say, word salad. We say, ladies, we do, because we love to communicate. We're talkers. We love to communicate, right? We communicate better than men most of the time, but we do use a lot of words. I know I'm guilty. We do use a lot of words, so make sure we're not using a lot of word salad. Make sure we are concise, because this is how men hear. This is how men listen. So make sure that you are clear in your communication, not just to yourself, but you're clear to the other person, that the person that you talk to. And sometimes you might have to say, are you understanding what I'm saying? Am I coming across do you get what I'm saying? Or can you repeat back to me what you heard? We have to be clear in our communication and honest. Honest, y'all, because the truth is just the truth. It's not meant to hurt anybody. It's not meant to tear anybody up. It's not meant to tear anybody down. It's just what it is. It's the truth. So in your communication, make sure you're clear and honest. And when you're honest, because sometimes the truth can hurt. It really can. Sometimes the truth can hurt. I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago, and they said to me, they asked the question, you gain weight? Well, yeah, I did gain some weight. But did I had to go there and justify. Actually, I lost weight, and then I gained back that which I had lost. So I'm still the weight I was when I first met you, right? So anyway, so make sure that you're honest but gentle in your speaking, right? And maintain eye contact. I'm not saying stare at the person, right? But maintain eye contact with that person, that your partner, your wife, your spouse, whoever. And make sure that you are conscious of your body language, especially as ladies, because we quick to, our eyes go up, all that stuff. Because they hear that when you're doing that. And your arms are folded. Y'all can't see my arms. Your arms are folded. Or your legs crossed. You're closing yourself off when you do that. So make sure that you are paying attention to your body language. And make sure that you're making eye contact with the person that you're having that conversation with, especially with your spouse. And if you need to, especially during debates or heated arguments, if you need to, please call a timeout. Agree, if a timeout is needed, agree to call a timeout. Say, hey, you know what? Let's table this. or what they use in business, put this in the parking lot and let's come back. Because right now, I don't think we're going to be able to reach a resolution. I think we're both maybe too heated. We're, whatever the case may be, maybe we need to come back to this. Or maybe we're distracted by the kids or work or something else, and you can't really give this person your full attention that you need to give them. So maybe we need to, let's park this and let's come back to it later if you need to do that. And some of you S&M people might understand what I'm going to say here, but have a safe word or phrase that you can use to stop everything. And agree on this beforehand. Agree on this up front, right? These are the rules. So have a safe word or phrase that you can use when this thing is getting too heated for you. And you need to stop it. It's okay. We'll come back to it. But right now we need to table this. We need to, and I need a safe word. So remember, y'all, your spouse is not your enemy. They're the very opposite of that. They are not your enemy. And don't fight each other. Don't fight each other. Fight for each other. Fight for your marriage. Fight for a resolution. But do not fight each other. And you have to make a commitment to treat each other right. And when you fight, you will fight fair. When you fight, you will honor God in your discussions. You will honor God in your marriage. So make this promise to one another that you will neglect the whole world before you neglect one another. Promise that to your spouse. Babe, I will neglect the whole world before I neglect you. And mean it. And act like you mean it. Let your actions show that you mean just that. And last but not least, make sure that you're seeking God individually and that you're seeking Him as a couple. And you're moving together as a couple. So that's all I have for you tonight, y'all. That's wrapping up our relationship. I don't know what we're going to talk about in June. June is my birthday month. It's going to be on and click. I might just have people come on here and talk in June. Give myself a break, right? So y'all know that I love you. There's not a thing in the world you can do to change that. Go out there and be that change that you want to see. And I will see y'all next week. Peace out. Have a great rest of your week.
We're searching for the truth deep in our lives, breaking through the barriers to darken the lights. Every thought we carry shapes who we are. Renew your mind, reach out and you'll go far. Transform the way you see. Let